The New Testament is the foundational text for the many branches of the Christian religion. It's hard to overestimate the huge influence that the ideas contained in it played in the development of Western culture. The work recounts the life and ministry of Jesus of Nazareth, as well as the development of his ideas after his death as the fledgling movement of Christianity spread throughout the Mediterranean world. It's thought that Jesus and his disciples spoke Aramaic, which belongs to the family of Semitic languages and is closely related to Hebrew and Canaanite. The New Testament was written in Koine Greek. This was a much simplified form of the classical Greek language and was more easily understood by uneducated people. At the time, Greek was, together with Latin, the lingua franca in the ancient world, much as English is today. The texts that constitute the New Testament were written by followers of Jesus. There's much scholarly dispute about the exact dating of these works, which were composed at different times over a fairly long period. According to our current knowledge, they were presumably written towards the end of the 1st century AD and perhaps into the 2nd century, although the earliest surviving manuscripts all date from considerably later. The New Testament consists first of the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the first 3 of which constitute the so-called Synoptic Gospels due to their similarities. These are then followed by the Acts of the Apostles, which tells the story of the attempts by Jesus' followers to teach what they had learned from him to others and thus to win adherents to the new faith. This book is followed by a series of letters by the Apostle Paul to the newly formed Christian communities in the different cities. These are the letters to the Romans, Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, and the Thessalonians. And there are also letters to specific individuals, the letters to Timothy, Titus, and Philemon. This is followed by the letter to the Hebrews and a series of letters attributed to James, Peter, John, and Jude. The authorship of a number of these letters is contested and continues to be a matter of scholarly debate. Finally, there's the prophetical book of Revelation, which has been attributed to the same author as the Gospel of John, or to another John, whom scholars refer to as John of Patmos. There were other accounts of the life and works of Jesus in circulation after his death, and the establishment of the New Testament canon was a long and complex process. As the different Christian communities grew and spread, there was a need for the establishment of some kind of agreement about which texts about him were to be regarded as authentic. The determination of which works would be accepted into the canon was undertaken by a series of church councils that took place in the 4th and 5th centuries. The Synod of Hippo in 393, and the 2 Councils of Carthage in 397 and 419. While there is general consensus today, there still remains some disagreement among different Christian denominations regarding which books should be regarded as canonical. Along the same lines, in the early years of Christianity, there were radically differing views about what exactly Jesus taught and stood for. Thus, there was a need to establish some kind of unified doctrine or dogma for the new religion. This was also a long and tedious process. The first official dogma was established at the First Council of Nicaea in 325, where it was agreed that Jesus was of the same substance as God the Father, a view which came to be known as the Nicene Creed. A series of other councils established other central points of dogma, usually in response to certain views that were causing controversy among the Christian communities.